Okay, so you're thinking about a trip to Singapore,
Yeah.
right? And you're probably starting to look at where you're going to stay. Maybe you've been checking out hotels, but have you thought about serviced apartments?
Liv's apartments, yeah.
That's what we're diving deep into today.
Great idea.
We've done some digging to bring you all the info you need, what they're like, what they offer, where to find them, and how they compare to hotels, price-wise, and everything. So you can make the best decision for your trip.
It's all about having the right information.
Right, exactly. So you can have that perfect home away from home experience. But first, for those who might not be familiar, what exactly is a serviced apartment?
Right, let's break it down. Basically, picture a fully furnished apartment that's yours for a short stay or even a few months.
It's like that perfect blend of having the comforts of home and the convenience of a hotel.
Exactly.
Everything we've read emphasizes a few key things. They're always fully furnished, so you don't have to worry about moving furniture or anything like that.
It's a huge plus, right?
Yeah, a huge plus. And they often come with either a kitchenette, if you just want to make a quick snack or something, or a full kitchen, fully equipped,
You can cook full meals if you want.
if you want. And usually they include housekeeping services.
So it's not like you're totally on your own.
Not totally, no.
And what's really interesting is that serviced apartments work for so many different types of travelers. Solo business trips, couples on vacation, families needing space to spread out.
Right, right.
They can all find a good fit. We've seen them in separate buildings like hotels, but also sometimes within larger residential complexes.
Like integrated into the building.
Yeah, exactly. And they come in all sizes, too. You can find studios, one-bedroom apartments, and even larger 2- or 3-bedroom units.
And that flexibility in size, it's a big advantage when you compare them to a standard hotel room.
Oh, yeah.
Our research really highlights a few key benefits for you, the traveler.
Okay, let's hear them.
More space is a big one.
For sure.
And for longer trips, they can be more cost-effective than a hotel. Plus, you get those home-like amenities, like having a kitchen to cook your own meals.
Right. And you're not stuck eating out every single night,
Yeah. And often you have laundry facilities right in your apartment.
which is a huge plus if you're traveling for a while.
Huge plus. And when you think about it, the appeal becomes pretty clear. I mean, in a hotel room, space is often limited.
Oh, for sure.
Unless you're splurging on a suite,
Yeah.
you're usually just stuck in one room.
Right.
And kitchens are rare.
Right.
So you end up either eating out all the time, which gets expensive,
Yeah.
or relying on room service, which also adds up.
Right.
Service apartments offer a different approach, right?
Yeah, totally. You get more space, you can cook your own meals if you want to save money, and often the rates are better if you stay for more than just a couple of nights.
So let's say you've decided to book a serviced apartment.
Okay, good choice.
What can you expect when you actually arrive and get settled in? What kind of amenities and facilities do they usually offer?
Well, typically, a serviced apartment is set up to be this comfy, self-contained living space.
Right, right.
Everything we've read says that this usually includes a fully equipped kitchenette with like a cooker, a microwave, a fridge.
So you can actually make real
So
meals.
you can whip up meals if you want to.
Exactly.
Then you'll have a dedicated living area to chill out in.
Kick back, relax.
Yeah, kick back, relax.
Watch TV or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A separate bedroom or bedrooms for privacy.
Very important.
And a bathroom stocked with all the essentials.
Okay, and here's where it gets interesting.
Okay, I like interesting. Tell me more.
Beyond what's inside your apartment, a lot of serviced apartment complexes also have shared facilities.
Oh, that's cool.
Things like swimming pools,
Nice.
gyms, even communal lounges sometimes.
You can meet other people.
Yeah, exactly. You're not completely isolated.
Right.
Of course, this stuff can vary from place to place, so it's always smart to check what's available before you book.
Definitely do your research.
Definitely. And for anyone planning a longer stay, a washing machine and dryer in the apartment can be a huge perk.
Huge, huge.
Our sources really emphasize that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Especially for traveling for a while, it can save you a lot of money and the hassle of having to find a laundromat.
Totally.
Now, let's talk about keeping your apartment tidy. What about housekeeping? What can you expect in a serviced apartment?
So typically housekeeping is included in your stay. We've seen that weekly service is pretty standard. This usually involves cleaning the apartment, changing the bed linens and towels, and restocking any toiletries that are provided.
That's pretty convenient. But what if you want your apartment cleaned more often than just once a week?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It seems like more frequent or more thorough cleaning services might be available, but they usually cost extra.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's worth noting, too, that some apartments might even have basic cleaning supplies for you to do a bit of light tidying yourself between those scheduled cleanings.
Okay, so you can keep things spruced up.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to something super important for most travelers these days,
Okay.
staying connected. What about connectivity and internet access in serviced apartments?
You're so right. Reliable internet these days is essential. But the good news is that service apartments pretty much always include high-speed Wi-Fi throughout the unit.
That's a relief.
And our research really stresses how important it is for these connections to be both reliable and fast, which is crucial if you're working remotely or just want a video check with family and friends back home.
For sure, because there's nothing more frustrating than trying to get work done or just relax and the internet is like crawling.
Oh, I know. The
It's
worst.
the worst. We also came across something about a dedicated workspace in some apartments. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, some service apartments go the extra mile to cater to business travelers or anyone who needs to get some work done while they're traveling.
Makes sense.
They include a dedicated workspace, which often means a desk and a comfy chair in a separate area.
That's really nice to have.
For those who travel for work, having that proper space to work remotely can make all the difference in their productivity. But even if you're on vacation, it's still nice to have a spot to sit down, plan your itinerary, or just browse online.
Definitely. Okay, so we've talked about what service departments are and what you can generally expect from them in terms of amenities.
Right.
Now let's compare them to traditional hotels and really break down the key differences.
Yeah, let's do a side by side.
We touched on this earlier, but let's get into the details. First up, cost.
Okay. Cost is key for a lot of people.
It is.
One of the main differences is how they're priced. Hotels usually charge a rate per night, but service apartments often have daily, weekly, and even monthly rates.
All right.
Our research shows that for longer stays, this pricing structure can make service apartments much more budget-friendly.
It really adds up.
Oh, yeah. It's a real shift in how you think about costs.
Right.
Hotels are all about that daily premium that can quickly get expensive. Whereas service departments often take into account that you're staying for a longer period so they can adjust the price accordingly. Think about it.
Mm.
You're not paying for breakfast every day at the hotel restaurant.
Yeah.
You can just buy groceries for the week, cook a few meals, and save a ton.
Right. Because it's not just the base rate that you have to consider.
No, definitely not. There are other costs to keep in mind,
There are.
like what's included in the price. Hotels often include breakfast, which is nice, but it's built into the cost. Service departments, they usually encourage you to do your own thing in the kitchen.
Right. Self-catering.
Yeah. And what we've also seen is that service departments can sometimes work out cheaper in the long run because of things like less frequent linen changes.
Right.
Which means less laundry for them. They might have a smaller staff.
Fewer overhead costs.
Fewer overhead costs. And even things like taxes can be more favorable for longer stays.
Which they can pass on to you.
Exactly. Pass those savings on to you. So yeah, if you're staying for a while, the savings with a service apartment can really add up.
Okay, let's talk space and privacy. We've mentioned that serviced apartments are generally more spacious than hotel rooms.
Right.
But how much more spacious?
Well, this is a major advantage, especially if you're someone who really values having your own personal space or if you're traveling with a group.
Like your family.
Like family, yeah. What's great is that service departments usually have separate living spaces, bedrooms, and those kitchens we talked about. It's completely different from a hotel room, which can feel cramped, especially if you're there for a long time.
Yeah.
And that extra space really translates to more privacy and a feeling of being at home.
Right, right.
We've even seen it said that a one-bedroom apartment can be twice the size of a standard hotel room. And with those good long-term rates, it's a no-brainer.
That sounds amazing.
It is.
Like a game changer for anyone who hates feeling cooped up in a tiny hotel room. Now, what about the services offered? This is where things get interesting.
Okay, let's dive in.
How do they compare?
So this is where you need to think about what's important to you during your trip. Hotels are all about providing a wide range of services whenever you need them. Daily housekeeping, room service any time of day or night, and a concierge to help you book things and give you recommendations.
Right, right.
Service departments work a bit differently. You usually get that weekly housekeeping service, and you'll have laundry facilities in your unit. But a concierge might not be available, and you're generally expected to be a bit more independent.
So it's more like having your own place.
Exactly. It's less about being pampered and more about having the space and the tools to do your own thing. It depends on your travel style, really.
Yeah. What are you looking for? Do you want that constant service, or are you happy to be more independent?
Exactly. And both options typically provide internet access and access to things like a gym or a pool.
Right, right.
But the level of service and how often you get it, it differs.
It does.
It's interesting, though. We saw that some service departments offer dry cleaning, so they're starting to bridge that gap a little.
Okay, interesting. So next up, let's talk location, location, location.
Ah, yes.
Our research highlights some popular areas in Singapore where you might find service departments.
Okay, let's hear them. Where should we start?
Well, our sources first point to Orchard Road.
Well, Orchard Road, the famous shopping district.
Exactly.
It's described as being right in the thick of it all in terms of shopping, restaurants, entertainment.
Sounds exciting.
Oh, yeah, super vibrant. It also has amazing transport links, making it really easy to get around. It's perfect if you want to be right in the heart of all the action with everything on your doorstep.
Okay, so if you're a shopaholic.
Orchard Road is for you.
Exactly. Now, for those traveling for business, our sources recommend the Central Business District, also known as the CBD.
Right, the CBD. It's the strategic spot if you're on a business trip.
Why is that?
They're close to corporate offices, financial institutions, conference centers, you name it.
Makes sense.
Plus, it's easy to get to iconic landmarks like Marina Bay Sands. You'll often find high-end service departments in this area with top-notch amenities. Fancy. And again, really good transport links. So it's easy to get to all your meetings and things.
Very convenient. And for those who want something a bit quieter, away from the main tourist spots,
Right.
our sources mention quieter residential areas.
Yeah, these areas offer a break from the hustle and bustle of the city center.
A little oasis.
A little oasis, exactly. They're perfect for a more relaxed local experience. You'll often find local markets, parks, and just a more laid-back vibe.
Right.
It's a chance to really immerse yourself in Singaporean life beyond the typical tourist attractions. You can connect with the local community, try local food.
It sounds really authentic.
Yeah, really authentic.
So it seems like no matter what you're looking for in Singapore, whether it's the vibrant heart of the city, a business-focused area, or a quieter, more local vibe,
There's a service department for you.
there's a service department option out there. Now, how do you actually go about finding the perfect service department for your trip?
Okay, that's the next step. Let's talk strategy. Our research has some really good tips for you during the booking process.
Okay, let's hear them.
First and foremost, start your search early. This is especially important if you're planning to travel during peak season. The earlier you start, the more options you'll have, and you might even snag a better price.
Right, makes sense.
Also, always read reviews from previous guests.
Yeah, reviews are gold.
They are gold. They can give you such good insight into what it's really like to stay at a particular apartment.
Real people, real experiences.
Exactly. Don't just settle for the first listing you see. Shop around. Compare prices on different platforms because there can be variations and special deals out there. And lastly, really pay attention to the cancellation policy. You want to be flexible in case your plans change.
Always a good idea.
Always.
So once you've found a place that looks promising, what should you be looking at in the rental agreement?
You always have to understand the fine print before you commit to anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our sources emphasize several key things to watch out for.
Okay, go ahead.
First, the lease duration. Service departments offer a lot of flexibility. You can rent them daily, weekly, monthly, so choose what works best for your trip.
Right.
Then, the payment schedule. When are payments due? What methods of payment do they accept? Do you need to pay a security deposit?
Important questions.
Very important. And make sure you know exactly what services are included in the rental price. Things like utilities, housekeeping, internet access.
So there are no surprises.
Exactly. No hidden costs. And finally, understand the termination clause. What happens if you need to end your stay early? Are there penalties?
Okay, so lots of important details to consider. But before you even start your search, it's probably a good idea to think about what you need and what's important to you for this trip.
Definitely. Our sources recommend really taking the time to evaluate your needs and preferences.
Like-
Well, think about how big of an apartment you'll need. Think about your preferred location. Do you want to be near specific attractions or the business district?
Right, or maybe you want to be closer to nature.
Exactly. What amenities are essential? Do you absolutely need a full kitchen? Laundry facilities?
Yep.
And, of course, your budget. Don't forget about those potential extra costs like security deposits and cleaning fees.
Right, factor all of that in.
Yeah. And our sources even suggest that looking at apartment hotels can be helpful. It can give you a sense of what's out there and what fits your needs and budget.
Okay, good tip. So we've covered a lot of ground today, helping you understand what service departments are all about.
We have.
But let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What are the overall pros and cons of choosing a service department?
Oh, okay. Pros and cons.
Starting with the advantages for business travelers. What have we learned?
For business travelers, service departments offer a really great combination. You get those hotel-like amenities that make life on the road easier, but you also get the space and privacy of an apartment. Having a kitchen and laundry facilities is super helpful for longer trips. It can make you feel more comfortable and productive. And having separate areas for living and sleeping really helps with work-life balance when you're traveling for work.
Right, so you can actually relax and switch off.
Exactly. And like we discussed earlier, the cost effectiveness for longer stays is a major plus. It's something that HR departments think about a lot when they're managing employee travel.
Makes sense. Now, what about some of the potential disadvantages to consider with service departments?
Our research does point out a few possible downsides.
Okay, let's hear them.
The level of personalized service, like housekeeping, might not be as frequent or as tailored to your needs as what you'd find in a hotel.
Right.
And the range of services offered on-site, like restaurants or a dedicated concierge, might also be more limited, so you might need to be a bit more self-sufficient. And while many service departments are centrally located, some might be in slightly less central areas, meaning you might have to travel a bit further to get to certain attractions or business districts.
And how does that impact your choice depending on how long you're staying in Singapore?
Our research is pretty clear about this.
Okay.
For very short trips, like a weekend getaway, a traditional hotel might be the more convenient option because of those readily available
Yeah,
services.
they're just easier.
Easier, yeah. But when your stay is longer, more than a week or two, the benefits of a service department start to really shine.
The extra space.
The extra space, the ability to cook your own meals, and those potential cost savings.
It all adds up.
It really does. And for long-term stays, like a month or more, the benefits are just undeniable.
It's like having your own little home.
Exactly, a real home away from home. And that can make a world of difference to your overall experience. Plus, they offer such flexible leasing options.
Daily, weekly, monthly.
Daily, weekly, monthly, so they're adaptable to different needs.
Now, beyond having a comfortable place to stay, many travelers also want to experience the local culture.
Absolutely.
And our sources have some great tips for living like a local in Singapore.
Love that. Let's get into it.
Also, what's the first tip?
Once you're settled into your service department, get out there and explore beyond those typical tourist hotspots.
Okay. Where should we go?
Our sources highly recommend checking out hawker centers. They're these open-air food courts that offer super affordable, authentic local dishes.
Oh, I've heard of those.
You got to try things like chicken rice, laksa, satay.
They sound delicious.
So good. It's where the locals eat, so you know it's the real deal.
Authentic. I like it. And what about connecting with the local culture more directly?
Try learning a few basic phrases in Mandarin, Malay, or Tamil.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Even just a simple thank you in the local language can go a long way.
It shows respect.
Exactly. Plus, Singapore has so many cultural events. Check the calendar for festivals like Deepavali, Chinese New Year, or Hari Raya. Maybe you can even find a way to participate in the festivities.
Oh, wow. That would be incredible.
It's a great way to experience the culture firsthand, and don't be afraid to just wander around and see what you discover.
Get lost a little.
Yeah, get lost, find those hidden gems that aren't in the guidebooks.
I love that. So what about local amenities and services that the locals use every day?
Our sources encourage really embracing those everyday aspects of life in Singapore,
Okay.
like using the MRT, the mass rapid transit system, to get around.
Okay.
It's efficient, affordable, and a great way to experience the city like a local. Getting a travel card can save you money and hassle.
Good to know.
Another tip is to visit wet markets for fresh produce. It's a more local and often cheaper alternative to supermarkets.
And you're supporting local businesses.
Exactly. And if you want to meet people and get involved in the local scene, check out community centers for activities and classes.
Okay, so many great ideas. And finally, what about exploring the neighborhood right around your service department?
This is where you can really start to feel like you belong in the neighborhood.
Become a local.
Yes. Take some time to explore any parks or green spaces nearby. The Botanic Gardens are a prime example of the beautiful natural spaces Singapore has to offer.
I've heard they're stunning.
They are. Find some local eateries. Don't be shy to ask your neighbors for recommendations on their favorite spots. And support small businesses in the area.
Yeah, buy some unique souvenirs.
Exactly. Living like a local is all about embracing the everyday rhythms of life and uncovering those special little gems that make a place unique.
So to wrap it up, it really sounds like service departments in Singapore are a great option.
They really are. As our research shows, they offer a perfect mix of comfort and convenience, whether you're there for a short business trip, a family vacation, or a longer stay.
They're like a home away from home, but with all the amenities you need.
Exactly. A smart choice for all kinds of travelers.
And with so many locations and price ranges, it seems like there's a service department out there for just about anyone.
Definitely.
So here's something for you to think about as you plan your trip. Given how service departments blend independence with convenience, how might this model shape the future of both short-term and long-term living in our increasingly globalized world?
That's a great question.
It's definitely something to ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into service departments in Singapore.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.